There's so many flubs and fuck ups that, were there, but nobody cared then, and I didn't care listening. And then I realized
different in the jam
the band
than what you normally get. Trey veered from what he normally played, which
I love this song, and I love hearing it in this incarnation of it, this version of it.
Welcome back to Wook Plus. I am Weekend Wook, joined by Kev the Great Wen and T. What's up, guys? I'm back. You missed me?
No, it's been a while since we've had the fearsome threesome together. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
we better get a brother at Mondegreen when we're all together.
I know. I love that song so much. I'm chasing it too.
And a real one, not some slow ass, weird ass version like they did for T out in LA or wherever that was.
Sacramento. Yeah, it was nice to get it, but it was definitely a little rough.
Hey, thanks, Essie. Appreciate it. So we're here as we do each Tuesday to recap a random PHiSH show. Well, occasionally a dead show. Tonight we're going to discuss 6/19/12. Pretty decent show. I thought I enjoyed it. It's not like the major jam vehicle type show, but
pleasantly surprised for a greatest hits show that also had what I think T is going to call an annoying theme running through it.
I'm sure if you were there, like SC could probably explain how if it was fun or not being there and having the joke run through it. But I think listening back, it doesn't quite play as well because you're like, why do they keep fucking up the song by saying tuck and like tuck and antelope and shit? And you're like, nah, fun, but I'm not there and I'm not in on the joke. So it was still fun though. I mean, I felt like, Kev, you said greatest hits. To me, I almost felt like 1.0 in areas because there was so much Rift. It felt like I kept thinking to myself, wait, is this like a 90? Is this like right after Rift came out? But it was 2012, so it was kind of, and some of it kind of sounded different than it. So it kind of reminded me of like a 90s show. So
yeah, I had a lot of energy in the night, and I think so. This venue in Virginia, that's a tiny fucking venue. It's a very small. Does not hold a lot of people. It's a Tuesday show. It doesn't. One time I saw there wasn't even sold out, and it was only even in 3.0 was very small compared to the rest of the tour. So, but the people that were there, you could hear the energy in the recording. Where
and you
really
could hear a lot of
time.
Audience singing too, which I thought was kind of cool. I don't know how I listened to it off or re-listened, so I think it was like an audience tape or whatever. But yeah, it was cool. I always liked
that. I thought that was counted as chomping.
Singing along? No, that's not conversation. Singing along is fine. Not too loud, but singing along.
Right. I don't like when people come into a show and they're fucking talking about like their business plan or what happened at work or whatever and really loudly. But if you're singing and enjoying the show, do you, man?
Stop the music here for a second. How did Mike Gordon's ex-wife get arrested, Essie? We need to hear this story.
Do we need to hear this story, or do we need to get into
need to hear this story? TMZ. We're putting the TMZ hat on.
Why don't we look that up and talk about it tomorrow on Live?
Yes, we will. All right, Sample. We love Sample.
Do we? I do love Sample.
Fun. It's a great opener.
I know. I just love how you threw me in there with don't speak for me. But no, you're right. We do love Sample.
I think it was a great opener though, to Kev's point. Like fun spot for it. Like that was really cool. Like a fun way to start the show. I really enjoyed it in that spot. I thought that was very cool. And then, leading into the next song, which is usually the opener. But I thought it was fun. It was cool. It wasn't too long, like 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes, something like that. So it's good. I thought it was a good way to get in.
Yeah, nice short 6 minute. Kind of hit it. Party time. I love the energy burst that you got out of it. I think it was really locked in at this point too. It was still in heavy enough rotation that the groove was kind of locked in. A couple of times more recently, it's kind of petered in and out. But the gear
is it a difficult song to play? You think the guitar?
I don't think it's hard to any of the individual parts, but I think it's something that you need to rehearse and have the touch. Right. And just it's the difference of being kind of loose and having it be tight. Right. But having Gearhart come out and the trumpet with it was I didn't see that coming. I didn't realize that happened at the show. That was fantastic.
I mean, it's amazing how horns improve a song, can improve a song, right? Like, I mean, if
Yeah.
you could have a party time like that every time, you're like, yeah, like let's get down. This is fun. So
Why does he
Yeah.
come out for only one song though?
I
Yeah.
mean, it's a
I mean-
solo trumpet thing. It's not like he was on tour or anything, or it's a special event. It's because he's in their hometown. He probably was like, "Hey, you want to come out?" You know what I mean? Like,
And he happened to have his horn.
yeah, or they probably talked about like the day before. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm speculating, but I feel like it was like a low commitment. Don't want to make a whole big thing out of it.
And what
I don't know. I guess with the guest that you would have him come out for the last 3 songs or something like that, you know.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say, Kev. Is like, what other songs would lend themselves to having the horn on them? I mean, it would have been funny if he
Susie
played.
Greenberg.
If
I
he
mean,
played,
any of the songs from the Great Giant Country Horns,
right? But he's not. But they didn't play that in this show. So I'm talking about in the set list of the show. There's not like a lot of other songs that the horn would go with. I think it
right.
would have been funny if he played horn on horn.
Yes.
That would have been good. But
yeah,
yeah,
you
I
would have
like that-
changed the set list. You definitely would have changed the set list.
You would have had
but-
to, right? But like what I was saying is, if you look at the set list as it's written, like I don't think it doesn't really vibe itself to having that in there.
But they just make it up as they go along.
I mean, Mexican Cousin would have been great. Having a little mariachi sound going on at the end with that would have been fun.
I did not understand that choice. I mean, we're not at the encore yet, but I don't know. That's an odd one to
I
me.
skipped the encore, just so
Oh.
you know.
Okay. This
You
simple
did it incomplete.
I like this simple. I think the tone in it sounded good. I didn't like it overall. I enjoyed parts of it. I liked the tone, and I was excited at that choice to go there in the 3 spot. But it really left me wanting a lot more, and just didn't do like really anything. I mean, it felt like it was about to do something, and then they were like, "All right, let's get out of this and go into Axilla." I don't know. That's a song
think-
that I love, but it really needs to have a jam attached to it. It can't just be simple with a micro little
Right.
minuscule thing.
I kept thinking that if it was done in 4.0, when they started to get a little weird after they'd come back to the theme, in 4.0, you might have got another 10-minute jam.
And it would have
with
been
that weird
incredible.
stuff.
Yeah. But they didn't know what
Yeah.
to do with it.
But it was a lot of those songs in the set. The timings of them were right around that 4.5, 5, 6, 7-minute songs. Like it was only sort of the Jen that got out there, and Kill Devil Falls got out there too, which 9.5 minutes, but still it wasn't a huge jam. It was still in that sort of confined
Greatest
space.
hit set.
It
Greatest
works with
hits.
those songs, though. I think the difference for me is like Kill Devil Falls as a type 1 9-minute ripping jam fucking
Mhm.
works, right?
Right.
Like it's delivered
Right.
and it works. Simple is a great jam vehicle, but it needs to get weird and type 2 and like go off the rails a little bit, right? And it didn't really do that. It was very safe and kind of, I don't know, wasn't working for me.
It was safe. It was safe. But we got the original, the OG, the only one that matters, Axilla, out of it.
You have such
Axilla
strong
won.
opinions about things.
I mean, it's a great tune. I don't know why you hate the second one. They're both awesome in rock. The
I don't
first one
like the
was better.
lyrics. The lyrics for the second one are dumb as shit. The lyrics for this are like a demented Dungeons and Dragons tale or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean it was good, right? Like I think it was a pretty serviceable. No complaints. I like how we got a request in because I didn't know what the set list was, but I could distinctly hear everybody shouting tube. And I was like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna do it. And then when Trey's like, hey, we think you're saying this, I was like, nice. Well done, Trey.
I liked the crowd reaction to it too, because this was still back when tubes were not every third, fourth, fifth show like we get these days. Like I feel like I tell you, like we get tubes so much these days that it's not really as special as it used to be. This I think was still kind of special because the crowd kind of was
But it
very
didn't
excited for it.
talk.
It was cool to hear.
It didn't fuck. It was 5
Well,
minutes.
Yeah, it
Okay,
didn't. It didn't jam.
It was
but
short. It didn't jam, but it was super funky. I mean, right off the bat, it had a really great funk feel to it. It just was small.
Like you said, though, a 9-minute Kill Devil Falls does its thing. I felt like this tube, even when tubes is in those 5 to 6 minute ranges, it can still rip because that middle
yeah.
section will still jam and
Is-
like
is
still.
anybody real happy when they realize they got a small tube?
I don't know,
I
man.
don't mind it. Yeah, I think we had one not too long ago on one of the shows we reviewed, and I really liked it. I thought that jam was sweet, and I was like, they jammed it without jamming it. It was a really cool, confined little jam that they did without taking it too far out there. And
If the
it
jam is
works sometimes.
concise and tight, and they're all on the same page, and they hit the transition like really impactful and like seemingly out of nowhere, yeah, that in itself does something. Sure, do I want it to be like a 10-12 minute tube? Of course, but like I don't know. That's a song, because the other thing too you got to remember is it's like 40 seconds in, it's in a funky jam. Like there
Right.
is literally like it is one of the fastest jam ramps, like on ramps that they have. So
Trey didn't
yeah.
know what to play.
Nah,
Like I said,
they asked
I-
for it. The crowd was cheering for it. They're like, play tube.
I
It
think
still
my
has
highlight-
one of the best, regardless if it's a long jam or a short jam, it still has one of the best re-entries of any song. Like
Oh,
when
yeah.
it comes back in, it's so fucking awesome. And like
Right.
it's just such a
Somebody
great
tweeted
re-entry.
once that it was better than sex, and the poor person got like hammered with, "You've never had sex," I guess. I tell you, my highlight was Kill Devil Falls. I think that was like the song that my ears perked up the most for, and I was like, all right, they found their spot here.
Yeah,
Another
I don't
one.
disagree with you. I really enjoyed it too. It's at least for the first set, really worked well.
It
The
was, I
highlight for
think,
the first set, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was the highlight of the first. I like the Gen personally. I think Gen was the highlight of the first set for me. And like I had it playing on my Bluetooth speaker in the other room. And if I could have found my phone, I probably would have skipped Kill Devil Falls at the beginning because I'm not like a huge fan of it. As I've told you guys before, like I feel like we've had so many of these throughout.
Well,
But
this
lately,
time period,
especially,
they were playing it almost every other show. It felt like this and Number
It was
Line.
new though, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah,
like,
it was 09, but
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
way through 15, I felt like Kill Devil Falls and Number Line got played constantly.
that buys into your theory about 3.0 songs having the chance to live and grow where 2.0 songs didn't.
Right. That's why 7 Below never got. Yeah. Oh well. I like it though. I think this. I think Type 1 jams are underrated or forgotten sometimes. We get so caught up in the big ass chalk dust or whatever, Wave of Hope or whatever
Give me
the
rock and
latest.
roll.
Right, and you need these drawn out, ripping, just high energy Type 1 jams to, inject something into the set, and that I think is the basis of PHiSH, and then all the other stuff you can, add some flourishes
it's
and
like-
some flavor to it.
Cut the crap and make my ears bleed.
Yeah. All right, Kev, you have strong opinions about Water in the Sky, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. I'm just a little befuddled
I've
why you
never-
have strong opinions about such a blip of a song.
I never gave it much thought, but listening to it this afternoon, I was like, God, this one just is meh. There's,
It
and
reminds me-
that
It reminds me of a Bobby song, is what it reminds me of. If we're talking dead, it reminds me of a Bobby song. And I'm usually the one that complains the most about Bobby songs as it is, unless they're like, estimated or something. But for some reason, I don't mind Water in the Sky. I think it's a fun, it's almost like evolved to me. Like it just kind of fits in the set sometimes, and it's just fun and it's easy and it's very peaceful. Like it's just very like, like, okay, take a breath and see where we are.
I wouldn't put it on my list of 50 songs I want to hear tonight. Put it that
Jason
way.
is 100% spot on. The way I feel about Water in the Sky is the way T describes Evolve. Like I wish Evolve did that for me, but if Evolve does that for you, like the same way Water in the Sky, yeah, it's like his best piece, but it's short, it's fun, has like a catchy little, head bobbing.
What did you think of the slower versions? Are you a fan of when they slowed it down?
No, not really.
No,
I think
but
it works
it's
better as
especially-
like an in and out and just hit it type of thing.
especially if it's raining, I don't mind it either. Like it's a good rain song. It's not drowned, which everybody always wants when it rains, but like you often get it when it rains and it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Look at us, T. We're agreeing on shit.
I know, crazy.
Crazy. I like Torn. I
love
think
Torn.
that is one of my favorite lines or riffs in the PHiSH catalog. The opening of Horn is just such a cool, beautiful melody. The chord progression in it too is so emotional. I couldn't decide what emotion I was feeling. Right, like I was like, it's not sad, whatever it is, but there's a lot of emotion in the music and I think it works for them.
Yeah, it's anything off of Rift is, you know, again, that album you can listen to head to toe, and it's every song is fantastic. So anything off of it, just to your point, Tim, elicits some kind of like something about those songs. They're just all so good and so fun to listen to. And Horn is the lyrics, the build, and the sound, you know, like when it first comes in, it's got the down and the big hits on it. It's just a great, it's so fun. And the lyrics match the music, which is always fun with PHiSH. Like when the lyrics kind of match up with the rest of the song, I always enjoy that. So
It's
it's
all
one of
there.
those,
There's
yeah,
no
it's all
part
there.
of it that's missing. It hits at all the different levels.
And it's concise, right? It doesn't, you don't have to worry about it jamming. It's just this song. It's like, here it is. Here's Horn.
Yeah.
And it's very universal, the lyric. I think anybody can listen to it. Sometimes PHiSH's lyrics are goofy, right? And it's hard to put
That's
yourself
what's
in there. Axilla, you can't put yourself in. Horn, the nasty flyers thing is a metaphor of you, someone talking crap about you, but you still show up. I'm still going to come get you because I'm in love.
See, and I think that lends itself to Rift, though. I think Rift has a lot of those songs where the lyrics you connect with, because it's
a cohesive whole, right?
Exactly. And there's a lot of those songs where you feel and has those sort of metaphors and those things in it that it hits you, and you're like, yes, this is why it's so good. This is why this album is so great, because there's all kinds of that.
Yeah.
Tim's favorite song is next.
We got to trademark Mike Set Killer. Like it is a consistency through the history of the band.
When I saw it, I didn't know it was a Mike song, and I thought they were covering a Pat Travers song.
I had no idea.
And then when they played it, I was like, this was a Pat Travers.
It sounds exactly like every other Mike song.
Yes.
Except for Mike's song, you know, ironically. But and on a common thread too is once you get past the vocals and the awkwardness in the beginning, it actually had a decent enough jam. Like there were parts of that I was enjoying. It's just so painful to get to that.
Why does he never get the love, though? This is only 3 times played. This was the second of 3. Why does he not get the love of letting a song like this be played every second or third show and making people sit through it like Numberline?
No, because it's not good. It is objectively not good. It is out of tune. It is poorly written.
What is wrong with it? The singing? Is it always the singing that's the issue?
Mostly. Yeah.
And I would say this though, Tim, to that point, that what is it, 7.5 minutes or something? I'm trying to like 7:15. If they let like a Mull or something get that kind of respect with the jam to take it out there like that, I think that would help. You know, like how we always talk about, why don't they jam out Mull a little bit more? Why don't they give Mike that kind of love with that, like they did with this song? Like this was one of the only songs we've heard where Mike gets a little bit of jam love in it. The song is all like, I didn't like it at all, but once you got in that jam, like you said, it was decent enough to have that jam. I wish they would do that with maybe some of the other Mike songs. Give you a little bit of that jam. It might make them a little bit better.
A little sugar to help the medicine go down.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm not going to tell Mike what to do, but I feel like maybe write a song for Trey to sing or Paige to sing, because he's a fantastic musician. Like the grooves he writes and the bass lines he writes and the intricacies of it I love it. It's fantastic. It's just his singing and his vocals just pull it down. So I get it. There's like, hey, it's my song. I want to sing it. He does it with his band. Like, I get it all.
Well, he needs to sing in the Sugar Magnolia range, because he nailed that Sugar Magnolia with Phil. He totally nailed it.
That range would be good.
He should write. He can sing, but the ones he writes for himself, he never writes the right way.
And he should write a song like that, Cav. He should put like, well, Willie's in 4-wheel drive or his kind of lyrics. Like that is exactly like Mike's lyrics. So he should write a song like that. And Jason, yeah, I know Mull wasn't invented yet, but I'm just saying we talk about why they don't jam them out. And this was one of the few times we've heard him jam a song. So it'd be cool to hear them jam Mull out like they did with this.
What's up, Andy?
Right.
Andy, you'll be happy to know that I gave Kev some shit earlier. Anyway, Gin.
That song was set.
I think it was cool to have a Type 1 Gin jam, and it's funny because it felt for a large part of the jam like a No Man's jam before No Man's was even a song. Like you could cut out that jam and fast forward like, I don't know, many years, 5 years, and it would be a really solid No Man's jam. But I think probably the second highlight, like you were saying, T, very solid jam.
I mean, they came back into it when they did the re-entry. It was so fast. Like they kept that pace up, which is kind of a unique. You don't often get that. Usually, when they drop back into it, he immediately goes into the and slows it down and gets back into the gen, and then slowly kills the song and goes out. This time, you let it rip for a little bit when they came back into it before he started slowing it down. I thought that was really cool. That made me also feel like kind of 1.0-ish, like, oh, they're kind of hitting this gen a little bit fast and a little bit hard, almost like let's speed it up into the end and then slow it down, which I thought was really cool. Just it had that, like I said, a few moments of the show made me feel a little 1.0, and that this was one of them.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm listening to it, and my youngest comes down, and they sing the "We Love to Take a Bath" line, and she's like, they would sing that line.
Wookery.
Like the being in the audience making a comment about Wooks and PHiSH fans in general, and I was like, good for you. Now, Stealing Time. This is with the dumbest opening lyric ever in a song. It really is a fantastic song.
I love this song. We've talked about that, like guilty pleasure, which I don't even think I need to feel guilty about it. It's a great guitar riff, great jams, funny lyrics. The lyrics I think are kind of dumb, but I don't really give a shit about lyrics. I love this song, and I think they nailed it. This
great
is in that
t-shirt
same
on
category
Wook
with Kill Devil Falls, and the t-shirt is awesome. And Numberline, like,
t-shirt.
really got played well in this time period.
Great t-shirt on Wook Plus merch. Go over and check that out with Miss Minutes from
It
Marvel.
feels like
I don't
it
know if that's
almost
even up
feels
there
like
still.
though Mike lyrics, like to your point, Kev, with the opening and some of the lyrics. I know, Tim, you don't really care about lyrics, but it almost has that vibe of like written by Mike because they're just so
green
they're just so,
tea.
like green tea, Cliff Bars. Like it speaks to that time too. I feel like very. I mean, all he's missing is a line about Birkenstocks and like wool socks and shit like that. Like it's so. But it's a great. Once they get into it.
It's cringy, but it's not as cringy as something that's preachy, like "Set Your Soul Free" or "Everything's Right," because it isn't preachy.
Cringy. I think cringy has like more extreme connotation to it. I think it's like, I don't know, a soft cringe, right? Like
he's setting the scene. I understand why they did it. It seems it's like writing a political song. It becomes dated so quickly. Green tea is not popular like it was in 2010 or whenever the song was written.
I used to drink Arizonas, just regular Arizonas, and every time
99 cents.
Exactly. Every time my now wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, would go to the store, she'd want anything, like, yeah, get me an iced tea. Every fucking time for like 3 years, she'd get me the green tea. And every time I'm like, I hate green tea. Next time, can you just get me the lemon? She'd be like, yeah, sorry, I forgot. And then sure as shit, the next time I would always get the green tea.
It does.
I don't know why I
though.
shared that, but I'm like,
it feels like having like a Snapple
and a Cliff Bar. A Cliff Bar. Who the hell has a Cliff Bar? When was the last time anyone had a Cliff Bar?
We stock them. White macadamia nut or whatever. Yeah, in the house. My daughter loves them.
Oh, really? She eats them? That's crazy. Do they? I guess they fill you up because they are dense.
Yeah.
Chew and chew and chew. Instead of tucking, you're chewing and chewing and chewing.
So I didn't know is where the tuck thing came in, because I guess when he came out for the vacuum solo, he said sloppy. He's like, I'm a little sloppy. I gotta tuck it in or something. And then from here on out,
probably referring to something else. He was probably
Mm-hmm.
tucking something else in because he doesn't wear underwear under that dress.
You don't know that. Do we know that?
Well, he says something about it in the second set. They say something about the underwear, and somebody's like, "Oh, he doesn't have underwear on," or something. So I didn't know if they were talking about him or like.
Well, I think they were bringing people on.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. Or telling people in the audience either come up or who had dresses on. I don't know. That's why I was saying I was so confused.
If you notice on Live PHiSH, they never do a shot of Fishman directly in front of the drums with him sitting, showing him sitting from the front. And there's a reason they don't.
First of all, he's shown his nuts on stage. I don't think he's worried about that.
Hasn't he mooned people too?
Oh, he totally went naked once. He came out naked once.
And I think he, just from like a chafing, probably wears something. I mean, that's a lot of motion with your legs.
Gold
you gotta
bond,
keep the
baby.
boys-
Gold bond's your friend.
I mean, yeah, and I would think sitting on the drum seat, like you'd want it's like a saddle, something, right? Like you don't want the
It's
boys
called
just
a
hanging off of
throne,
there,
but yes.
right? Like you don't want the boys. You need them kind of protected and like
Bouncing
secure.
around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
probably like boxer briefs. I would. Well, the fish might be a brief guy. I could see him being a brief guy. He's older, but
Or just like Brian says here,
Yeah.
like a pair of shorts, or like not biker shorts, but like yogi shorts or something shorty
basketball
shorts.
shorts or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
might be at the depends point in life.
Aren't you older than them?
No.
Oh,
I mean, aren't you bringing Depends to Monday Green? I think instead of if we don't get the air conditioned bathrooms,
I'm gonna be on the rail. I'm bringing
Oh, God,
I'm
I
bringing
hope
some of
we
those
get the fucking
astronaut
bath.
diapers with me.
I hope we get the AC.
we're still on the wait list. I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I know. All
I
right.
need to poop in the AC.
Antelope, great way to end the set. Pretty. I
think-
mean, it never disappoints. It's a
Dude,
great song.
We've dubbed it
it
the
was ruined
Mariana
for me.
Rivera, the Mariana Rivera of first set closers. It's fucking it's perfect. It does.
Yeah.
It always does its job.
I think it, on a quick aside, I think it deserves to do a little better than it's been doing with the bracket. I think this is Fluffhead's year, but I would not be disappointed if Antelope surprised everybody
Should.
and
Yeah,
came
totally.
up. It's so
Totally.
consistently good.
Totally.
Uh,
And this one was a little annoying with the tuck, and the tucks in there, but Antelope is always so much fun whenever he changes the lyrics and does whatever he wants with it, because I feel like the song enables itself to freestyle kind of with those lyrics and stuff. So when he plays it straight, it's fantastic. When he fucks around and gets silly with it, it's fantastic. Like it's just you can't go wrong with it. Like I'm sorry, it's just up there throwing 98-mile heaters down the plate. It's awesome.
Yeah. And PHiSH is annoying. I mean, that's what we signed up for, right?
Yeah,
Like, you
exactly.
can't pick and choose the annoying antics. All right, let's do some quick housekeeping. We got an insane month. I don't know how this happened, but I was like, hey, let's have the
You don't
PHiSH
know how it
bracket.
happened.
No, I know how it happened. Peer pressure. You guys are like, we should do all this shit. And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. But all right, let me just run through it. We got the PHiSH bracket going on right now on X, on Twitter, at wookplus. If you're not following us, go vote, participate. We just hit the round of 32. So it's going quick, but it's been a lot of fun. Check that out. Also, coming up on Sunday, for the first time ever, I'm very excited to announce that we will be recapping, well, not the three of us, but Wook Plus will be recapping Goose at the Cap all 4 nights, 15 minutes. No, we're not doing a Goose bracket, but 15 minutes after Encore, we have some special guests. Greg Knight's going to be joining us. So if you're a Goose fan, it won't just be, me not knowing what the fuck I'm talking about. So check that out. Also, PHiSH at the Sphere is also this month. Fucking crazy. 15 minutes after Encore, all 4 of those nights, we'll be breaking down those shows. And then really, really excited. Probably the biggest announcement or thing going on this month is on the 24th. We have the Wookiee Awards are returning. This is the 5th. It's not really annual, but the 5th Wookiee Awards. So that's coming up. Plus, we have Live every Wednesday, the Wook Club every Tuesday, and the Sunday morning show every Sunday morning. So we have tons of content. Now would be a great time to subscribe to the channel.
And tomorrow,
yes,
anybody who's
tomorrow.
interested at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, I will be going live with Greg Serafan, Disco Biscuits fan extraordinaire, and we're going to talk Revolution in Motion. He was at Webster Hall. It'll be a quick one, but you should join us for that also.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yes, and become a member. It's cheap and fun, and there's lots of benefits. And like this video.
Before we jump into this, like I said, this is interesting though, Jason, that the 7-4-12 monkey from Jones Beat finishes up the tuck references. We'll have to listen to that because I'd like to. That's funny that they bring it back or they like mention it or come back into it. That's funny to see. Now I'm interested.
The tuck is deep.
Tuck, but it's layered. There's levels.
It's a deep tuck. Yeah, we are doing a shit ton of content this month, and May will probably be a sleepy month catching up before we hit summer tour. No, we're excited about though. A lot of great stuff. All right, let's get into the second set. We've already been on for a half hour. Back on the Train
Well, they
is a
did 13
very
songs.
great way to
13
start. I
songs in
know
the
it's
first.
been one of those shows. I know the second set's the same way.
13
What do you
more
think?
songs.
11, I think. But yeah, I didn't count.
Who's counting?
I'm trying to count, but I can't count that high.
I think Back on the Train is another solid type 1 jam that really can kick things off. It's probably goes on a little bit long. I mean, it's a short jam, but like for the lack of variety that they give it, I don't know if that needed those extra 2-3 minutes. I think like a 6-7 minute probably would have gotten the same point across, but it was fun. I mean, it was clean, right? Pretty straight ahead. So
13 songs, including the encores.
Including the encore, so 11.
I liked Back on the Train as the opener. I'm a huge fan of it, and I love the jam in it. It's just a groove. It's like an old school jam that you see in a bar band doing. It's a bar band song, right, T?
It is completely, and it's a great way to open the set. I always love it. I love what they do with it these days too. Like, I mean, this one was pretty great. 10 minutes as an opener. The second set was great. Usually it's a little bit slower, but it's always got a great little groove in it and a fun jam. So I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, I mean, that beat that PHiSH plays is called a train beat, and it's a very traditional, like, country blues type of beat. And so they just keep getting back on it.
It's a shuffle. It's a little medium rock shuffle there for you.
Not quite a shuffle, but yeah.
I shuffle to it.
Right.
Kept shuffling his feet to it.
At your age, you shuffle to everything, Ken.
my mom asked me the other day if my leg was all right because I was shuffling in the grocery store with her, and I was like, "No, I'm old." I was like, "I'm at the shuffle stage of life." It's
the shuffle stage.
It was nice to hear a clean riff. I never took it for granted, I took it for granted back in 2012 and before. In modern times, it's not 100% batting average, but it's a very clean, solid version, I think.
This 3-song run right here, I love the riff, the melt, and the mango song. I thought were great. I thought it was a really fun run through here, and you get it, and then we kind of go off a little bit, and then you get another nice one with the Lengthwise Maze Cavern at the end into the fire. But this, I really enjoyed this riff starting off this run of songs. Again, anything off that album is fucking rad, and this was a really nice, clean version of it. It sounded great.
I will say that everything off the album is rad, but that's another story. There's a couple set killers on that one, and I know I'm going to get shot for that, but
let's talk about that tomorrow. That's a good topic.
It's interesting. I found it really interesting listening to the Split Open and Melt compared to what we're getting now. And seeing how much it's become a monster, it makes me appreciate what we're getting now even more listening to this, because it's great. It's a solid version, but it isn't mind melting.
But you like those broken down, get lost breakdowns, which Melt has sort of become, especially the last 2-3 years of it, which are fantastic.
I nailed it, T. What I think it is, what they're doing in Split Open and Melt when they do that, it's like Dixieland. Everybody's playing their own thing at once, they
are. It's like Limb Independence. They're all playing their own thing.
And that's what's so fun about it, because then when it comes back together, it's so spectacular to bring that back in.
When they nail it, when they land it.
When they land it. Right. Which, but this version of it before, like, without getting the spacey and the evil and the dark and the breakdown, is still really cool. Like, it's fun to hear. Again, it felt like kind of 1.0-ish, right? Like kind of this jammy, rocking kind of mow through it sort of version of it. I liked it. Yeah. I don't know. I like it. I like them both ways, right? Like, I like them when they get really out there and broke it down, but I also like kind of the straight jam in it, because you don't hear that these days too often.
Interesting placement too, that it's that early in the set. I don't know. I'm not that versed in 12 to know if that's where it normally showed up, but I found it an interesting spot for it.
Yeah, I don't know that Melt, and well, I mean, I'm not as well versed either, but I don't think Melt was one that's ever locked in a very specific spot. I think it works in a bunch of different places, mostly second set, but early second set, late second set.
Close the first is a good spot.
Close the first. Yeah, well, with the big syncopated bam bam, Uh
The three
I
notes. My
I
favorite
like
three
this
notes.
one a lot, but I am going to agree with Kev and say that the modern development of it is superior. It's just incredible, but you can see its progress from like the earlier
Shades of it,
ones.
right.
This is kind of like a middle ground, and
Mhm.
it's really interesting to see that.
I tell you what, when we do the festivals, I really hope we do the night of Coventry when we get to the Coventry year with the Split Open and Melt, because it might be one of the top ones ever, and it was surrounded by a poop show.
What do you think about this Mango song, Kev?
I'm a big fan of the Mango song. It had its anniversary the other day and lost in the bracket as an aside.
Mm.
I feel like it's one of those songs that no matter where you put it, it works. It isn't a slow song, but it is slower. It's more
Mhm.
cooled down a little bit, and it just has the classic lyric. It always has the potential to go long. Not that it always does, but it's when you hear it, you're like, all right, we could be in for a great ride here. Even if you aren't, you're like, that was cool that I got to hang out there for a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's a very classic sound. It gives a little more vintage to the set. There were a lot of other songs that were older songs, but I think this is just one of those classics that instantly gives the feel of vintage to the set. I thought the transition, by the way, into Numberline was really nice. Numberline's usually a song that I really hate in the middle of a set because it feels ripcorded, even when it's not. No matter what they do, there's just something about that, like the dangling on that note. But at the conclusion of Mango and him hitting the note right away, it kind of worked.
Worked, right.
Yeah, no, I
Like a
see.
DJ.
I was kind of getting down to it too. I think, you know, for what that song is, this version of it worked really well. Like if you hate the song, you hate the song. But like I think it worked for that song.
It
But
was
I
like a
think that's
DJ.
I think
Yeah.
that's the
When it,
definition kind of number line is like everybody hates the song, but the jams often jam, right? Like I mean, it's just
everybody's dancing to it.
everybody's
Everybody's
dancing,
dancing to the show.
everybody gets down to it, but you got to get through the lyrics and the song altogether. But like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but I kind of like the lyrics though. Like I don't know if this is like a change because I've always bitched about Numberline, and a lot of that's because I caught like my first 20 shows had number lines, but I was listening to that. I was like, that's a nice sentiment, right? Like, even if say like we were just friends and had nothing to do with PHiSH or whatever, to be like, we made a pact, like every year, no matter where we end up, no matter what we're doing, right? We're not gonna let it slip by. We're going to reach out on our birthdays, and you know what I mean. Like, really kind of appreciate, especially as you get older and your friendships get fewer and far between, and like, you know what I mean. It becomes more valuable. I don't know.
It's
this
it's
is
a
one
it's
that we
a
will
it's a
definitely
brilliant marketing plan that was hatched some on Madison Avenue one night, and
the Hallmark song. It's definitely one that we will not agree on. I cannot stand. I'll tell you guys off air what I really like, what I've nicknamed the song. I don't want to say it on air, but I can't. It's just I can't. No.
oh, now I got it. That's great. Members only. If you become a
Members
member,
only.
we'll post what it
Exactly.
is.
Exactly.
That's
Moving
the
on.
content you're looking for. I tell you what, from the next two songs, I could have really done without, and I'm a fan of Limb by Limb.
Yeah, me too.
I'll flip that on you. I'm a fan of Shine a Light, and I didn't think this was a very good Shine a Light. Like I was really kind of disappointed with it. And I love that song. So to hear it like this, I was very much like, I kind of want to skip through it because they're killing my song. Like it really was kind of upsetting.
Since we're combining them all, limb by limb, thumbs up. Shine a light lengthwise for me was a thumb down, but then it got brought back in and hit again for me.
What's wrong with
Lengthwise.
Lengthwise?
Yeah, I want to say though, Lengthwise, I'm surprised Kev's gonna agree with me on this one, I think, but Lengthwise is one of those songs. I love the lyrics. Like it makes so much sense in your head, and it's just beautiful poetry. You're like, yes, that's so true. And I love it. And it fits again, riff, the lyrics on riff, most of those songs, it just hits home so well. And I love
So
that
many
song. This
Fishman,
one,
three Fishman tunes tonight. Lengthwise and Party Time and Tube.
this one was a little different and got a little funny because of the tuck and shit inside of it and like whatever's, which kind of left laned it a little bit. But I love this song. I love it. And I don't get it enough. It's so great.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
usually am a
perfect.
big fan of it, but it took me out. They were ripping at this point. And I was like,
why
I don't know.
break and make him come up?
Right. I
and-
feel like that
Right.
worked in the first set. Like,
Right.
I don't know.
I agree.
That was
It
always
kind of-
my issue with Fishman in the olden times, was that every second set you knew you were getting a Fishman tune. You'd kill for one now, but back then you were like, at some point they're going to stop, do the Fishman tune, and then go back and finish the set.
And it was kind of a weird 3-song run again, like Limb by Limb, Shine a Light, Lengthwise. It kind of got a little messy. Like Limb by Limb was good, but I don't know. Shine a Light, Lengthwise were a little messy. I love though when it went into Maze. Like I thought that was, again,
Maze
the
was
riff
sick.
back to back, bookending each. I love that. Like that was awesome.
Yeah, Maze had a little mustard to it too. It
Yeah.
was like a little extra. I felt like it was nice. If they're gonna do that, I'll hold your head up and like with the sandwich and do something a little more, I think works better in the second set because it's like more fanfare and gimmicky. Lengthwise, I think I get it, and like I don't know. I just didn't think it worked. I
Encore.
understand the
Hold your head
plan,
up.
but I don't think it worked.
It wasn't as fun.
Right.
Like, and to that point, Kev, I think when you got like a Hold Your Head Up, Purple Rain, Hold Your Head Up or something, like those are the moments that you actually enjoyed with Fishman, even when you broke out the vacuum and did all that and you knew you were getting that in the second set. They were fun. It was like Fish. Like that was a Fish show back in those days, right? So
I thought it worked so well, Hold Your Head Up, the Pittsburgh in 19. When they came out for the encore, they did the Fishman tune, and then they went and did Julius or whatever the other song was that night.
I don't know. I like it in the second set too, but anyway, Cavern, fucking solid. Another workhorse. Could have
Can't believe
ended
it
the
lost.
set. It was really nice that they snuck the fire in.
yeah, because Cavern is such a perfect ender, right? Because it has that break where he's always like, thanks everybody, like see you tomorrow night, or we'll see you in 15 minutes or whatever. It always has that little break for him to do it. So when you don't get that, it's kind of like you're like weird. And then when they dropped into fire, that was pretty fire. Like that was
It's so
great
hot.
drop.
That's one of my favorite.
No big
covers.
jam. No big jam though.
Unrealized.
That would be my thing walking out. I'd be like, I really liked most of the songs they did this night, 80% of them, but there was no big jam.
You just mean for the entire show? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was a drinking at the bar, barn burner kind of, jukeboxy.
Come
type
on
of
down,
Fish show.
boys.
Right.
But rock and roll, right? Like some of those jams, it was very, which overall reminded me of like 1.0. I know you keep saying that, but that's what it reminded me of because a lot of those jams were in those 7-minute just like go, and then get out of it and then go and then get out of it. It wasn't ever like anything that went too far, got 15, 16, 17, nothing extravagant.
I know this is like completely speculative and has no backing and whatever, but just based on what we've listened to the last couple of weeks with Charleston and then in Virginia, I feel like if there's almost like this good old boy bias where they like hit like the South and like a lot of people are gonna be like Virginia's North, but like for me, that's you're getting in like the good old boys in the country and like it's like just like a rocker show, right? Like I feel like you hit Philly and Boston, New York, that's when you do like the crazy spacey, jammy shit. And you go down south and you're like, we're just gonna rock and roll. Oh yeah.
Mexican Cousin.
Yeah,
I don't get it. People dig Mexican Cousin.
No, they don't. Don't give it credit. Who the fuck digs Mexican Cousin? Nobody digs it.
I'm sure there
What are
will
you
be somebody
talking
in the comments within the next week telling me that I am completely off base.
Well, yeah, but that's because
Mexican
you have
Cousin
a whole band of, your crew. Of course, they're gonna agree with you.
Where are you at, Team Kev?
Now that is funny. Like now, if they were all wearing sombreros and come out and do it, like again, they should add the horns, the mariachi sound to it. That's funny, right? Like that lends itself to it, and needing to be there and seeing it in person and laughing at it. That's when it works, and that's when it's fun for sure.
Yeah.
Didn't we get a slave last week for an encore?
Yeah, it's the other Mariana Rivera.
Yeah,
along with Antelope. It's a great closer.
It is a great
they got
closer.
a couple of them. I think my overall take on this show was it had the fishy energy. It was a very fun, fishy show. And if you were there, I'm sure you had a blast. Like
you walked out of there, you were like, that was cool. We got 26 songs,
And it was a Tuesday night, even better. Like, if you're
Yeah.
catching a Tuesday night show, that is a great Tuesday night show, without a doubt, because it's rare that you get a Tuesday or Wednesday night show in the middle of the week like that, beginning of the week, and it rips like this. So good.
Tuesday's the new Sunday.
I'm going to explain the new rules to everybody because we like to complicate shit. And there's another reason. So we're gonna keep doing the random shows, but we decided that each of us gets a veto, a respin. Now we don't get to choose what the song or the show is if we decide to use it. It just means that when the random show is selected, if one of us is like, "Nah, that's a weak ass show. I don't want to listen to that," we can force a respin. Now the catch is your respin doesn't reset until all three of us use them. So if T and Kev are like very, I'm not saying this is what you guys are gonna do, but just hypothetically, if you're like, I want an early '90s show and I'm vetoing anything else, I might just hold mine for a couple months just so we don't do that every week. I don't know. There's strategy to it. I also might use it tonight, but
There's always strategy involved.
I know it's fun. I think this is a fun, make it a little more interesting. Whose turn is it to pick though?
Tease.
Oh man, so much pressure. Less pressure though now that we get vetoes, I guess. Now it's not as weighty of like, oh crap, I'm gonna get a shitty show.
Yeah.
I will do let's do 4.
Even
It's so
number.
painful because you get to see the one.
Oh,
Holy shit. Probably a terrible
Old
recording now.
Church.
Mr. PC.
2.
Great.
That's-
It's gonna be like 14 or something.
Oh, 3. Oh, I knew I should have done 3.
I was there.
Those houses cool.
Oh my god, this is a fantastic show. This might be the best Mango song they ever played.
Hey, were you at this show, Kev? It's Merriweather.
I was. I've seen every Merriweather show, so there's my
There you
most
go.
seen venue for PHiSH.
I almost want a veto just to fuck with Kev, but I'm not gonna do it. I am super tempted to, but
It's an interesting encore. I love Gaiuti in the 1 slot. That's fun. And then another
Yeah.
Back in the Train in the first set. That's fun. I mean, that's a great 3-song.
a 5-song second set with the dog
Yeah.
log in the middle.
It's the
Another
only
theme.
dog log. It's the only dog log I can think of that is jammed into and out of, that they don't just start it and stop it and move on to another song.
And a very odd spot for the curtain width.
Right, a
second to last
penultimate
song.
curtain width is
Yeah,
odd.
out of a fluff head too. Like what? Like all right, okay, this will be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah,
Homework
a
will be good.
91
there's a-
vintage.
And there's a San Jose tease.
Oh,
There's
perfect.
always
We
a
love
San
those.
Jose tease.
Love those.
I still do. I've listened to the song before and I can't hear it. I have no
We've
idea.
talked
what
about
people are
that
talking
so
about.
many times. Like we talk about that every time. Like I think I joke with you. I'm always like, Kev, was there a San Jose tease in that song? Because what the hell? Yeah. Scott Mark
All right.
special.
Well, everybody do your homework, listen to this show, then tune in next Tuesday. Tell your friends too. Tell your enemies.
It'll be
Tell
me
everybody.
and T. It'll be me and T because Tim will be doing the goose.
Oh man, I'm
It'll
gonna
be
listen
like
to that
a
one.
it'll be like a dead night, but we'll be doing fish.
I
Yeah.
know. You know what? Maybe I will outsource the goose recap so I can do this.
Or you could do the first 2 nights.
Yeah, we'll figure
Sunday
it
and
out.
Monday.
We'll figure something
We'll
out.
see you guys.
Right on. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow night. Tomorrow night.
Party time.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a really fun live tomorrow night. See y'all then.